Hi everyone, my name is Stormi the Folf, and before I get started, you might notice something a little bit different about this video. Are things a little clearer and sharper? What about those colors, huh? If it wasn't apparent, I got a new camera. Special thanks to Pearl the Raven for donating this epically awesome Sony 4K camera. So now you can see all the parts of my fursuit that I forgot to brush. But yeah, today, as the title of the video would imply, I want to talk more about original species in the furry fandom. If you don't know what original species are, well, they're a type of species that are created and usually owned by a particular individual, entity, or a group of people. Each and every original species can all have different rules, a different backstory, its own history, and so on. There has to be something that sets them apart as rare and unique among the crowd to be a quote-unquote original species. There's also the discussion of open species versus closed species. This is pretty important information to digest should you decide to create a persona based on original species. Because if you create a persona based on someone else's original species and you break the rules, well, yeah. I hope you like pitchforks. Anyway, with open species, you're generally free to make your own, provided you follow the species owner's rules. But with closed species, you usually cannot make your own without permission or approval from the owner, or you gotta purchase and adopt from them, or you may have to abide by certain pre-made character designs. Original species get a lot of criticism for these reasons, and I tried to listen to both sides of the table as a result. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. Some people don't like original species because the owner of said species may require you to follow the rules of their species. If you don't like them for that reason, that's perfectly fine. I mean, you could use that as inspiration to make your own, or you could take advantage of God knows how many other hybrids or animal/mammal species. Plus, the world would kind of suck if we all agreed and disagreed on the same exact things. Know what I mean? Before I begin, all of the information presented was researched to the best of my ability, and the rules, guidelines, and whatnot behind these species are subject to change at any point in time. So if I say something and it appears to be incorrect or wrong, please let me know in the comments so I can smack myself upside the head. Actually, don't smack anyone, that's bad, don't do that. Don't ever smack a fursuiter. But yeah. Anyway, here's a brief rundown on 3 original species that you might want to check out. Wickerbeasts. Wickerbeasts are supernatural creatures created and owned by an artist by the name of Damon Lady. They are an open species. The story behind them is that Wickerbeasts are an ancient monster race with a somewhat humanoid appearance. They're resistant to most types of magic and love to cause mischief, but at the end of the day, they just want to be understood. Physical attributes. Some of a Wickerbeast's distinct physical features include small, square-shaped muzzles, muzzle teeth which have curvy pointy edges you see around their mouths, and they tend to have pointy tongues as well. Their eyes are either one solid color or a 2-color gradient combination. They'll also glow when it's dark, and they don't have any distinct pupils or irises unless your Wickerbeast is a hybrid, which also has its own set of rules, I believe. All Wickerbeasts, including hybrids, have reversed, backwards-facing ears. They don't swivel or flop around. Basically, the complete opposite of my ears. Like, try to flop them, and you see they're not flopping. They're like that. Your Wickerbeast ears can't be like this. They gotta stay still. They have to be controlled. Yeah. What I love most about Wickerbeasts are the curvy pointy edges around the muzzle and the glowy eyes. I kinda wish my eyes glowed. I would not want to get on the bad side of a Wickerbeast since they have 2 sets of teeth. That's like deluxe Intel Core i9 turbo processing chomping power. If you're not fond of the rules and guidelines set for having a Wickerbeast, you could always make a monster dog, which is an unregulated species and pretty much anyone can make one. Manokits. My first introduction to Manokits was through one of Bakari's personas, Niho. When I found out about Niho, I thought he was some sort of shark-based persona, and turns out I was partially correct. Manokits, created by Dubmutt, are also known as shark kitsunes, and despite being a hybrid of 2 species, Manokits are actually an original species. So, how is that possible? Well, Manokits have set guidelines, distinct physical features, and their own little backstory written by their creator. Of course, I am always open to debate on these things. And as I said earlier, all of this information is to the best of my research. Manokits, although part shark, they actually cannot swim or breathe underwater. They mostly reside around beaches or mountainous areas on islands. They have thick fur which protects them from the sun's harsh UV rays. Their vision is limited, so they mainly rely on hearing in order to sense their surrounding. Makes me think of echolocation, which is actually used by dolphins and bats in real life. They love to eat fish, crabs, birds, and the occasional fruit. They can also communicate either by purring or clicking. Manokits are also an open species. Physical attributes. Manokits do not have scales. They can only have very short fur. No scaly Manokits for you. Manokits also waddle around due to their imbalanced body structure. So basically like me when I'm fursuiting. Their body posture resembles that of a chicken or a velociraptor. And as I said before, Manokits rely more on their auditory senses to move around and about. They do have eyes, but they are partially blind and tend to be often squinted, like failing miserably to show squinted eyes on my fursuit. You get the idea. They also have a soft pyramid-like bump forming their noses. Their ears always lay back and droop downwards. And they have sharp teeth that, although take on a canine pattern, they lack molars. They also can't reproduce, so don't get any ideas. Protogens and Primagens. Protogens and Primagens are a unique cyborg alien species conceived by Fur Affinity user Malice Risu, and I hope I pronounced that right, back in February 2015. Assisted by the talented people at Kyborg Studios, the first Primagen partial fursuits were known as ASCII and Abrexis, again, hope I pronounced that right. In April 2017, Protogens were officially released to the public as an open species. Previously, only Primagens were available and are a closed species. Primagens and Protogens originate from an alternate universe where there are interdimensional energy surges that can be harnessed to power warp gates, drives, and in some cases, the Primagens and Protogens themselves. So, what are the differences between Primagens and Protogens? To the untrained eye, they may seem to have striking similarities, but if you look just a little closer, you'll start to notice many differences between the two. Not just on the outside, but on the inside as well. Protogens are the first model in the species and rely more on biological organs as well as requiring a digestive system. They require organic matter, aka food, to survive, much like humans. Primagens are the second model and harness electricity and arcanical energy, I can't read, which is the force of interdimensional magic flowing throughout their universe. They do not rely on food like Protogens. Now, let's compare physical attributes between Primagens and Protogens. Visors. This is probably the first thing you'll notice. The visor is basically the acting face of a Protogen and a Primagen, usually powered by an LED array that can display a wide variety of expressions. Now, let me just push this thing here to shrink myself, like there we go. Primagens use a long boxed visor, while Protogens use a short round one. Primagens have artificial ears. Protogens have biological ears. Primagens have head and chest panels, while Protogens can only have a protective chest plate. Primagens are made up of 70% biomechanical technology, while Protogens are 40%. Primagens are raptor-like in appearance, while Protogens maintain a more upright stance. A Primagen's movement patterns are more feral, while a Protogen's movement patterns are more on the mammal-human side. Primagen's visors remain closed, while a Protogen's visors are able to open. Since Protogens rely more on biomechanical tech, they have an inactive digestive tract, whereas with Protogens, being more mammal-like in nature, rely on a digestive tract. Primagens have raptor claws, while Protogens feature modular limbs, which can be changed to help better adapt to different environments. Primagens are larger in size compared to Protogens, and lastly, Primagens are a closed species, while Protogens remain an open species. Okay. Now let's talk about how you can get one of these. Since Primagens are a closed species, you'll need to go through an auction posted on Malice Risu's Fur Affinity page. And because they're in such high demand, the prices can get super high, like over $1,000 through an auction. That doesn't mean they'll always cost $1,000. You just have to strike the iron at the right moment, or strike while the iron's hot. You gotta monitor their Fur Affinity page to keep an eye out for auctions. I understand this can be a little discouraging given how awesome they are, but remember, there's more to life than getting Primagens or finding the most perfect pizza on this planet. Okay, maybe. But seriously, don't fret on this. There are tons and tons of Persona species to select from, and lest I forget, you can make your own Protogen. In my opinion, they're still just as cool to have, and you don't have to pony up the dough to make it happen. Now, you'll still have to follow the guidelines if you want to make one, however. That doesn't mean you can just start tacking on Primagen features to your Protogen. Do that, again, the pitchforks are going to come after you. So, yeah. If you want to read up more on these guidelines, check out the link in the description below. And if you still must have a Primagen, like at all costs, all I could say is save up and keep a close eye on Malice Risu's for Affinity page. They are apparently listed every few months or so, but unfortunately I can't make any guarantees on that. Now, I've also been getting requests to do a video on Dutch Angel Dragons, but in order to deliver the most accurate information possible, I'll actually be collaborating with a certain squeaky Dutchie in the near future, so stay tuned for that. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about the original species I just discussed, check out the links in the description below. But yeah, that's the end of this week's video. What are some original species you think I should cover? What are some of your thoughts on original species? Let me know in the comments. If I get enough support for this video, maybe I'll do a part 2. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, maybe leave a comment, give it a subscription if you haven't subscribed, and share it all over the furry sphere, which is like Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and Furry Amino at this point. Yeah, I am one tired doggo. And of course, it is late, and I've got to rush this video out before Friday afternoon. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!